Hi students, this is a quick overview of social penetration theory followed by an exercise that I think is very eye-opening and I hope you have time to participate in because I think you'll be into it. Social penetration theory was developed by two social psychologists, Erwin Altman and Dalmas Taylor. Social penetration theory maintains that relationships develop gradually over time as a function of the degree of self-disclosure that occurs between the relational partners. The theory begins with the notion that people are like onions. A person's personality is multi-layered, with public layers accessible to all, semi-private layers accessible to only a few, and private layers rarely accessible to anyone. At the beginning of a relationship, those features that make up our public layers, for example, age, likes, dislikes, hobbies, serve as the primary attractors that draw us closer together. However, there is a limit as to how close these superficial properties can bring us together. At some point, further intimacy requires us to penetrate the semi-private and eventually the private layers of our relational associates and partners. Social penetration theory explains that self-disclosure has three interconnected dimensions: depth, breadth, and frequency. Thus, relationships are closest when communication is deep, broad, and frequent. And let me elaborate on those concepts. Deep is intimate and near the core of the onion. For example, there's a big difference between telling someone, "I like you," and "I love you." Broad covers many topic areas, some very personal and some impersonal. For example, in addition to sharing information about your hobbies or job, you may also share your strong beliefs about family responsibilities and religion. Frequent means it increases as both depth and breadth in a relationship develop. For example, blurting out a personal secret or pent-up feeling may seem odd if it's not part of an ongoing pattern of self-disclosure. Accessing the semi-private and private layers of our partner's personality can only be accomplished if he or she is engaged in self-disclosive communication with us. According to social penetration theory, the process of increasing intimacy through self-disclosive communication is gradual and orderly, and is characterized by certain predictable aspects. Participants must have a healthy self-concept, for example. They must basically like themselves and think highly enough of themselves not to be ashamed to reveal aspects of themselves. Participants must be willing to take relational risks. They must not be afraid of what might happen if they reveal certain things about them to the other person. Participants must have trust in the unconditional positive regard of the other person. They must believe that the other person will not and cannot do anything with what he or she is told to injure or hurt the revealer. If these facets are absent, social penetration theory maintains that the relational partners will likely engage in depenetration, the systematic closing off of some portions of a person's individual life and personality to the other person. Social depenetration usually signals the start of relational disintegration or breaking up. The couple or the two people begin the process of uncoupling themselves by systematically distancing themselves from each other by closing off inner layers of themselves. Relational renegotiation may occur in which the couple begins the process of redefining the nature of their relationship. For example, in the case of a male-female couple, they may start talking about each other as friends or buddies rather than boyfriend or girlfriend. Relational renegotiation seeks to redefine the relationship in such a way that the individuals can still maintain a relationship in which shutting off the inner layers is acceptable. And that brings us to our activity, which is called Peeling Your Onion Without Crying. The worksheet that you'll find under this video listing in Canvas gives you a list of topics and asks you to determine what types of people with whom you have relationships you would be comfortable sharing each of the topics with. And the goals of this activity are to apply self-disclosure theories to a variety of interpersonal relationships and to examine how different levels of self-disclosure can affect relationship development and intimacy. So it's a little difficult to kind of tell you about the results of the worksheet before you've done it, but let's go ahead and do that anyway. You might want to pause the video and do the exercise and then come back to it. But after you finish the worksheet, if you've checked numerous boxes for most types of people, you are a highly open person who feels comfortable sharing yourself with others. You may, however, be too open sometimes and sometimes embarrass or shock others with your disclosures. On the other hand, if you checked numerous boxes in the no one column and very few in other columns, you may be limiting your potential to form close personal relationships. A low number of check marks in the romantic partner column may indicate a lack of trust as well as a relationship characterized by jealousy and superficiality rather than genuine intimacy. And I would encourage you to ask yourself some questions about your results or about the process, such as were there any significant differences in the information you would share with a new friend, best friend, family member, or romantic partner? Did you check at least one item in the no one column, for example, information you would not share with anyone? What does this say about the nature and limits of self-disclosure? And how can your results be interpreted in terms of social penetration theory? So I hope this has been an enlightening video and exercise about social penetration theory.